Thanks for being with me. The aftermath of the referendum last weekend is still being discussed. And it is, in a way, I think, as horrific as the actual campaign. Primarily because now that we have had the referendum, there are a series of facts that have actually been brought to our attention, illuminated for us, if you like. And the right wing in particular do not like some of these facts. And they've broken out into a whole host of different areas. The first fact, I guess, is that that a lot of people who voted yes in the campaign actually were well-educated, people that had a undergraduate or a postgraduate degree. They came from more middle-class, wealthier type areas. Now, that doesn't mean that other people are completely uninformed or stupid. It just doesn't mean that at all. The fact is that if you're well-educated, you probably have a greater opportunity at being at least a critical thinker, to think about things in rational and reasonable ways, and to do, when it comes to research, not the research that the cookers do, but the type of research that is often more in-depth, a little bit more quality involved, looking to the right sources for information and so on. They're the sort of people that probably would have investigated exactly what the Voice was about. And also, a lot of them are probably more liberal in their attitude towards life and towards society and towards a whole host of social type issues. So they're the people that tended to vote yes. So that's one group of people. And the other group of people are Indigenous people, because it has now been, we've now been told that there's been, at least amongst Indigenous communities, 80% of them, ranging from 60 to 90% in fact, but let's say on average, 80% of them voted yes for the referendum. Now, when these facts become apparent, the right wing tend to get their knickers in a knot. And I'm about to show just a short clip from Sky News, which talks about Waleed Ali talking about on the project about this issue in terms of where a lot of the yes votes came from in the metropolitan area. And he has been lampooned because the right wing cannot accept, not for one moment, that it is possible that someone like Waleed Ali, a coloured man, a well-educated man, and an Australian, can actually be presenting facts that are true and that may enhance his argument, and may also talk a little bit more about what happened in this campaign and who it was, which cohort of the community were voting for the referendum. Now, the position then that the right wing have taken is that because he has made this statement, which is a statement of fact, that the right wing then get their knickers in a knot by suggesting that no voters are dumb. Now, the interesting thing about this is he didn't even use the word dumb. He doesn't make that assertion whatsoever. He's just presenting a fact. I don't think that those people that voted no necessarily are dumb either. I think they stretch along a continuum from distinct racism to ignorance to just couldn't give a damn. And so they're not necessarily dumb people. Some of them may be misinformed. Some of them may not have understood the issues. Some of them may not have even known that a referendum was about to be held. Some of them may not have even engaged with the issues or cared two hoots about them, right? So they're not racist, neither are they dumb. They're just, some of them, I guess, are misinformed, perhaps. And some of those people took on the information that they were issued from the No campaign, which determined how they were going to vote, because they lacked the critical thinking or they lacked the understandings of social issues in relation to Indigenous people to make a decision that would have caused them to vote yes. So they're not dumb, but this is what the right wing. This is typical of what the right wing are saying about them. And I'll just play this video for you, just a brief bit of it, and then I'll talk.
Well, television hosts Waleed Ali and Patricia Karvelas are under fire for suggesting the No campaign was helped along by less educated Australians who couldn't quite understand the complexities of the voice issue, because if they could, they would have voted yes. Have a look.
The biggest dividing line seems to have been education. So if you are in a seat that had high levels of tertiary education, a bachelor or postgrad, then you were at the very top end of the yes vote. And if you had the lowest levels of tertiary education, you were at the low end of the yes vote.
All right, let's bring in...
Now that you've heard that, I'm just going to replay what she said at the very beginning, because there's nothing in anything that he said which indicates that, number one, he's telling people that they're dumb. And there is another point she makes. We'll talk about that when she gets to it. Listen to this again.
Well, television hosts Waleed Ali and Patricia Karvelas are under fire for suggesting the No campaign was helped along by less educated Australians who couldn't quite understand the complexities of the voice issue.
That was the point. So can someone please explain to me where Waleed Ali or Patricia Karvelas have said that people could not understand the complexities? I'm not suggesting for a moment that there were an issue of complexity that was thrown at this campaign, that was devised by the No people, particularly Peter Dutton, Warren Mundine and others. So there was at least an idea that there were complexities involved. There weren't, but that was the idea. These people are still trying to sell that. But they haven't... Waleed Ali and also PK have not necessarily said that this is because these people were dumb, stupid, or whatever. They didn't make that comment. He just told them that this is a fact. Now, the other fact that I want to talk about also is, where did people vote? And there was this graph, or this map, I should say, not necessarily a graph, came out that indicated that you can see where around the coastal area of Australia and some little pockets, there were lots and lots of no votes, and that's what tipped it over the edge, substantially, in fact. We understand that, we get that, no one's arguing about that. But the interesting thing is, in Central Australia and in the Northern Territory up the top and in Arnhem Land, there was overwhelming yes votes. So where there was a majority of Indigenous people, those people voted yes, according to this map. That is a fact. So when Jacinta Price and others are arguing that Indigenous people, they vote necessarily, they're all going to vote probably no to this, and I've got all this information, says Jacinta, that tells me that I've been running around the countryside, and all these people, the Indigenous people that I know, that I'm friendly with, they've all voted no because they don't agree with the referendum. Well, the actual response to that can be, well, you're wrong. So we don't know who you've been speaking to, because the polls actually show us exactly where people were voting yes and no. And so many of the Indigenous people, according to this poll and according to this map, they voted yes for the change to the Constitution, recognition of Indigenous people, and a voice to Parliament. So that argument's out of the water, because it is clear from this. So the right wing want to be able to conflate everything into the fact that a majority of Australians said no. Yep, majority of Australians did. We understand the reasons why. Most of them were misinformed. No campaign did a fabulous job of spreading so much doubt about what this would actually mean to them. You have your backyard stolen, a lot of other crap. So they did a great job, no doubt about that. One of my biggest fears, and there's an article I was reading earlier today on this, is that, and I might do a post on it, is that the Dutton, the opposition, will start using the tactics that they used in this campaign for all elections. So it's going to become more and more like the Trumpian type stuff and shit that we see in the United States and some places in Europe, it's going to become more and more like attacking. It's not going to be about policies. It's going to be about popularism, and it's going to be damn unhelpful because, as this election indicated, there are lots and lots of people who do not think about the political ramifications of decisions that our governments make. You know, I'm a bit of a junkie, so I tend to watch Question Time. Try and do that every day because it informs me about what the government's doing and what the opposition are saying. But very few percentage, 1%, less than 1% of the population, I guess, would be watching Question Time or interested in that. You get most of your information from your social media. And I know that my social media is this bubble, which is a left-wing, progressive type bubble. That's where I get most of my stuff from. However, I do look outside of that to places like Sky News, The Australian and the Murdoch Press to find out what the other clowns are saying, because it's important for me to understand what they're saying. And they're not always saying things that are detrimental to the left either. Occasionally you get a report which is a bit, I think, more balanced. So you can't dismiss them, but you can be mindful of what their agenda is, and their agenda is to try and find ways to shift people further and further to the right. There was another set of stats which I didn't produce, which actually showed that a lot of people who voted, who read or were informed via Sky News, most of those people voted no. And so that's another data link that we can make to inform us that those people, as limited as that number might be, but clearly that's where a lot of people get their information from if you're sitting on the right wing of politics, and they were pummeling. Sky News were pummeling the no vote. They were at it all the time about why you should not vote for this referendum. And they were, interestingly enough, some of these educated people such as Paul Murray and Alan, well, not Alan Jones so much now, but a whole group of them, Andrew Bolt in particular, were beating the shit out of the reasons why people should vote no. And as a result of that, they kind of won that argument to some extent, obviously, because that's the way it turned out. So let me know below what you think. I'd like to think that you could also subscribe to my channel and ring the bell for further videos. I'll be making some more videos later on today. So let me know what you think and have a conversation with me in the comments area below. But in the meantime, take care of yourself, look after yourself and others, and be safe.